April 2019 to April 2020, there were 78,056 overdose deaths. April 2020 to April 2021, that number passed 100,000. And by all accounts and how it's looking right now, when April 2022 comes around and the final numbers are in, we've gone way past that already. We need to start looking at this issue from a different angle and try helping and meeting people where they're at. K Ruggs, the Soberdog here, Kyle Ruggieri. Why do they call me K Ruggs, the Soberdog? Well, a while back, went to the store and just would be out and about in New York, here where I am. I'd see friends and family, my buddies' friends and family. They'd come up to me, hey, Timmy's doing great, he got married, he's got 2 kids, his wife's doing this, how are you? Here's what's going through my head. I'm a week out of prison, I'm losing my mind, I'm craving every drug known to man, I don't have a job, parole, might be at my house waiting, and I'm basically freaking out. But I don't want to tell them that. So I'd just be like, yeah, I'm fine, everything's good. Decided to get everything out there and share it, and called it Soberdogs. Now, where this gets back into play of the numbers we started at the beginning, all the approaches we have looked at and have taken as far as addiction, a lot of them are outdated and just ineffective. One of the ones that's more controversial, but proven to be very effective, is harm reduction. Harm reduction is policies, programs, and practices that aim to minimize negative health, social, and legal impacts associated with drug use, drug policies, and drug laws. We have to be open and willing to try new things because a lot of the old ways simply aren't working. What are some of the examples of harm reduction? You got needle exchange programs, Narcan availability, Narcan training, safe use sites, clean paraphernalia exchanges, Good Samaritan law when somebody overdoses, MAT programs, Suboxone, Methadone, Vivitrol, Sublocade, these programs in jails, prisons, all like that. Fentanyl testing, places and availability. All these are accompanied with the harm reduction model and how it works. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. Isn't this basically giving addicts a free pass to use and enabling them? That's a great question. I've gone back and forth on that myself, and I know a lot of people do. The short answer, no, it's not. In the history of addiction, there's almost never, ever an addict that's going to say, I don't have a clean needle today, I'm not going to use. Or, I don't have a clean crack pipe, I'm not going to use. They're going to share needles, they're going to use old needles, they're going to use old paraphernalia, they're going to bust up light bulbs, they're going to bust up glass pipes, they're going to do whatever they need to do to use with old, dirty, dangerous things regardless. With that being said, it is way more effective and beneficial to the entire community as a whole to have these programs in place to help people and meet them where they're at. I'm a perfect example. Throughout my entire time using, only twice did I ever share needles, and because it was only 2 times, I never got a disease. And during addiction, I dated women who some were using and some weren't. By not having diseases myself, I didn't pass any on, they didn't pass it on to anybody else. I've worked in restaurants most of my life. People get cut. By not having diseases, there wasn't a threat of that passing it on. Back to what was said a minute ago, there would never be a day where I would say, oh, I don't have a clean needle, I can't use. No, we're going to use an old one. We're going to share one. We're going to figure it out. But because New York allowed us to walk into a pharmacy and buy needles, I never really had to worry about that. This goes with everything. Fentanyl testing, if people have the availability to bring their substances somewhere to get it tested, overdose is going to get dropped a ton. But, the obvious reason they don't do it is fear of arrest. MAT programs, safe use sites, MAT in jails and prisons and, anywhere. And if they're going to continue to use, they could do it in somewhat of a safer manner to where people aren't dying every 2 seconds, where a ton of diseases aren't being spread. And then those seeds are getting planted and boom, when they're ready, recovery's there and available, whatever route that may mean for them. I can't wait to come out there and talk to everybody and just share some of my experience with being in prison, using, and being on parole, and being in addiction, and being in recovery. That is one of the best ways in general to connect, and everyone sees different sides of it. I've learned so much from talking to parole officers, probation officers, police officers about what they see and how they approach things. And hopefully I could give them some of the things that I saw and I did and help them, and all of us together can help combat this.